Good morning, gasaholics. I'm Hot Rod Bob, and you've got gas, the morning edition. And let's hear those horns, will you? Honk if you're... You know the rest of that. It's part of a bumper sticker that you see every once in a while. If they could put them on bumpers, they just stick them on the back of the cars now. But horns, what a wonderful idea. And they've been around for quite some time, even before the automobile. But many of us take the horn for granted and take comfort in the fact that if we need it, it's there most of the time. Now, I had issues with mine when I made the engine swap into the Plymouth. The exhaust was too close to the steering column and it melted the horn wire. I had to rewire it, and I put an Ooga horn in the car. I thought that was kind of cool. You know, old car, Ooga horn, they kind of go together. Now, the true name for the Ooga horn is the Klaxton, and it was developed in the early 1900s, but we'll get into that in just a little bit. Now, horns have found their way on trains, cars, boats, bicycles, tricycles, you name it, the horn is there. And it's used for a number of different things. You toot it a couple of times to say hi to friends as you drive by, or, you're passing them by. You lay on the horn hard when you think the person in front of you wasn't driving quite the way you wanted them to, or thought they needed to. You tap the horn to get someone moving after they have fallen asleep at the traffic light, or they're texting or looking at their phone. But the horn, it's a wonderful thing. Now, some people use the horn more than others. It's a method of communication, after all. But, the city of New York took an active stance to try and curtail the use of horn honking. As a matter of fact, in the 1980s, they ordered a $350 fine for excessive horn blowing. That's right. Of course, they're stuck in traffic. They're not going anywhere. The cop walking the beat will walk over and they can give you the ticket. Too many tickets. Well, too many opportunities. In a very short time, the city of New York finally realized a ban against using horns in New York City just didn't work. I mean, the alternative was a single-fingered salute. But that didn't quite get the effect that the horn did, so they removed the ban on using the horns, figuring it might be a little bit safer thing to do than the one-finger salute. So that happened in New York, and believe it or not, it did. Now, at the beginning of the 20th century, a quest for an effective in-car signaling device was found to be needed. I mean, people were driving their cars down the streets or the roads, and these noisy, smoky contraptions sometimes could not be heard. Hi, Jason, how you doing? And Joyce Anderson, good morning. Jonathan Hall, Brad Fisher, a host of people. Boy, the names are just running through here, and I'm trying to catch them as quickly as I can. But in the early 20th century, they started with different things. Now, they were acoustical devices. So that meant it could be a horn, a whistle, a bell, ring-a-ding-ding, but it was to warn people that your car was coming down the street. You didn't want pedestrians who were not used to these contraptions at the time walking out in front of you. Like they couldn't hear you? Well, but that was the theory back then. Now it's even more important because in many states, they are looking at electric vehicles and they want them to produce a noise because many pedestrians are walking right on in front of them because they don't hear them coming. Of course, they're too stupid to look, but a noise, a communication device on a vehicle is what they're looking for. Good morning, Neil. How are you doing today? And Mark McGeorge. So a horn is a way of doing that. Now, Miller Reese Hutchins, a young inventor who was working with Thomas Edison in the early 1900s, set to work to improve the existing horns. I mean, some of them were little bulbs that you pressed, and it was air. And meep, meep, or beep, beep. And sometimes you heard them, sometimes you didn't. They weren't all that loud. So Car and Driver magazine says that Miller designed a horn along with Thomas Edison, and it became known as the klaxon. Now, I talked about that just a moment ago. The klaxon makes a sound And we referred to that sound as ooga. Ford used this type of horn exclusively on their cars in the late teens and early 20s through the late 1920s into the Model A era. The horn started changing back in 1930. Of course, I wasn't around, nor were you for that matter, but that's when they started changing. Now, electric horns that made a different type of sound, the klaxon was basically a motor that made a noise, it started beginning in the 30s, and it may have been considered a luxury item. Now, a lot of times, you had a button to press, and it was someplace. Well, in the 30s, they started putting them on the center of the steering wheel, the horn button, right there. It became more of a safety issue because it was easy to get to. Now, modern horns haven't changed much over the years, although states and the federal government have tried to regulate the level of sound, the decibel rating, what kind of noise it makes. So you hear a lot of horns today, regardless of the car, and they sound about the same, right, Kenny Munyon? And Mike Jacobs says, yes, he concurs. Well, that's good. I'm glad. Now, the tones of the horns have changed over the years, and there's a normal sound now that we hear. It's kind of boring. But then again, there's people that have the musical horns. Now, a result of horns producing different notes has really been kind of fun over the years. If you remember, the original Roadrunner had the horn that sounded just like the cartoon character of the Roadrunner. Meep, meep. I mean, it was cool. No one moved out of the way, though. No one really noticed the horn other than to say, oh, listen to that cool sound. Is that a Warner Brothers cartoon playing in the background? I don't know. But it did. Good morning, Bobby Dye and Jerry Whittle. Now, a memorable horn in the 60s was a two-tone horn. We talked about the Roadrunner. Now, Mopar Magazine says the Roadrunner's horn sounded like the cartoon character. We said that already. Okay, we'll move on. Now, horn regulations. We talked a little bit about that just a moment ago. Horns are mandatory on cars. And it is a safety device in reality because it can warn an impending driver of a miscue, changing lanes without looking properly and maybe missing you, or a pedestrian about to walk out in front of you. And you want to warn them right before you impale them. I don't know, but, it just could be one of those things. Hi, Richard. How are you doing this morning? Richard Canderhead from Texas. Now, the horn has a certain level of decibels that are allowed. Right, wrong, or indifferent. I've heard horns, and a guy in a Mini Cooper one time at Irwindale had a horn so loud it really scared a kid and started a kid crying. But I understand the need for a horn that loud when you have a car that small and you're that stupid a driver that you drive in people's blind spots. So he had that horn to let people know. I should have gotten that horn for my son a few years ago, but that's another story altogether. All right, so Car Driver notes that California rules dictate that a horn should be audible from at least 200 feet away, but it should not be unreasonably loud. How's it going to be heard 200 feet away if it's not loud? Now, aftermarket horns are also limited to no more than 110 decibels. Yeah, I just put one of those in my car. We'll see how loud that baby is. The 200-foot rule is common in many states, says Car and Driver magazine, and most car manufacturers monitor decibel levels of their vehicle horns. Now, I've been with a friend. We were on Van Nuys Boulevard one time, and we were honking horns just for the sake of honking horns. Now, how many people drive through a tunnel and honk horns? Yeah, you want to hear that sound echoing in that tunnel. It is so cool. Now, what about the time when you were at the drive-in? Think back. Those of you old enough to remember car drive-ins. Right, Chris Costanza? You're sitting there. It's dark. The movie's supposed to have started already. People start turning their headlights and honking their horns to get the projectionist to turn on the camera and get that movie going. See, another use of horns. Let them know. Now, I use a horn because some strange reason people tend to not check their mirrors. Never seen that, have you? Yeah. They'll change lanes. They'll pull from a stop sign. They won't even stop for a stop sign. They just assume, oh, it's clear. I got enough room to go. So I let them know I'm there in no uncertain terms. Now, I had one of these klaxon Uga horns on my car, and last night I decided to change it to one that is a lot louder. Now, my wife's 46 Ford still has the factory horn, and baby, that gets you out of the way. It is loud. Factory stock horn. Now, the horn that I put in my Plymouth, I had taken out the original one, which was pretty much like that Ford, and put one in yesterday that is in that same vein. So I'm going to be able to warn people that I'm there in case they miss that big yellow, red, and black coupe. But it's going to be my safety. Now, when I rode a motorcycle, we did a similar thing. We got some loud European horns and put them on our bikes. It was very simple. Bolt it on, put the wire in, you're set to go. One of my cars has a very high-pitched horn that was only used in that model, and it's almost useless, but hey, it's there. I've got a set of horns to put on it as well to make it more normal. Now, you can tell the make of a car by the sound of the horn in the 50s. You know, a lot of manufacturers had different tones that met their requirements for individuality, and I like those. There are many styles of horns. There's the small little round ones. Then there's the big long ones. That's what I just put on my car. And the factory horn that's on my wife's car is a very long horn. John Duran, I bet you still have the stock one on your Ford, and it's cool. Yeah, Chris Costanza wants the Union Pacific horn. Yeah, you know, I've tried to get something like that, but because of California limiting the decibels to 110, they're out there. They make the sound, but finding one that is that loud is tough. But, man, those are great. I had something similar to that in a car many, many years ago, and someone decided they were changing lanes in front of me, and I didn't feel they were far enough away, and I hit the horn and watched them zigzag as they got scared and moved out of the way. Obvious, they did not look. If they had seen the car, the horn would not have shocked them all that much, but they weren't looking. Now, some say the replacement for using the horn in that situation is those devices in cars now that tell you whether or not you can change lanes safely. Well, that's fine if you happen to be looking at your side view mirror in the first place and see the light. Now, the scary part about that was when those things started, you'd pull alongside a car and, you know, there are cars that have directional signals in the mirrors. Well, as you got closer, that light would start lighting and you'd see it from the car alongside. Made you think they were hitting the blinker coming over. I'd rather hear the horn. So the horn came out. It's been used. It's going to be used. We got plenty of them, lots of different styles on them. And a lot of people use them for various things, including being sociable. So honk if you're saying hi, and use that horn. Enjoy that horn. Be a horn blower. I hear a train horn in the background here as the trains go by down the street from me. Horns. What a great and safety invention for a car, a boat, a train. Get a horn today. I'm Hot Rod Bob. You've got Gas, the morning edition. Thanks for tuning in, Gasaholics. Glad you could be here. And it's Thursday. One more day. And then I'm getting ready for Wheels and Waves on Sunday. It's going to be a great cruise in Malibu. Going to be a little thing there. Check it out. Fireball has posted the list of who's going to be there. It includes some great dignitaries. We're going to see the number 2001 production Cobra is coming out. Yep, it's going to be out there. And let's see if I can pull up who did that. And Fireball Lawrence, Wheels and Waves. Let's see what he's got going. Just to let you know what's happening this weekend. Well, Tony Dow is going to be out there. You remember him from Leave It to Beaver? He was the older son. Bruce Meyer is going to be bringing out the first production CSX 2001 Cobra this Sunday at Wheels and Waves. And like I said, Tony Dow is going to be there. There's going to be a number of other people there. And let me find the list. Peg and I are going to be there with our cars. Randy Kerdoon, my co-host, and I'm this co-host on Talking About Cars and Gas, the Great American Auto Scene, Evening Edition. He's going to bring out, I think, his Pontiac Safari this time. Don't know. It's either a 64 Dodge or his Pontiac Safari. My wife's going to drive her 46 Ford. I'm going to bring the 48 Plymouth out. So we're going to have a good day there, get some fresh coffee and stuff. So Wheels and Waves, John D. Augustino is going to be there. The custom car creator. He's going to be out with his Crystal Award of Excellence for Best of Show. Ooh, that's going to be nice. I understand Don Henderson's going to be out there and others. So we hope to see you out there. Wheels and Waves. Let's see if I can tell you where that is. Sunday, July 19th, Malibu Country Mart at 3835 Cross Creek Road, Malibu, California. Be there or be square. I'm Hot Rod Bob. You've got Gas, the morning edition. Thanks for tuning in, Gasaholics. I do appreciate seeing you every morning, or seeing you, or me, or visiting with you like we do. Gas, the Great American Auto Scene, brought to you by Irwindale Drag Strip, Irwindale Speedway, Valley Head Service, Beach Underwriting, Moon Eyes, and Service Tech. Now, yesterday we talked about their new battery pulsar. Check it out. Mention Gas or Bob Beck when you contact them, and you can find them on Facebook. It's Service Tech Equipment. Check it out. This is a great little machine. Fits on the car, plugs right in, hooks up to your battery. It keeps the battery healthy. It not only keeps it charged, it keeps it healthy. So check it out at Service Tech. Talk to Craig over there. I'm Hot Rod Bob. You've got Gas, the morning edition. You have a great day. Take care now.